now we're on to our weekly segment that we're doing with our friend Keith Martin, who's joining us. I'm sorry to make you keep getting up so early. I like to sleep in.
It's tough. My pina colada usually arrives about 11.
Well, good thing. Do you get the one with the umbrella in it, right? So,
exactly,
yeah, okay,
exactly.
Good to know. So, once a week segment, and for those of you who don't know, Keith does a blog on Sports Car Market's newsletter every week. And then, of course, there's one in the magazine as well, too, for every month. And this week, it's Just Chasing a Maserati, which I love the title. That sounds like a good start of a book. And you ended up your new place that you live in. Imagine this: there's an SCM subscriber that lives in your new building, right?
That's right.
How cool!
And he's got a hand-built Maserati 350S from 1956.
Wow!
He had it built in Argentina, and it's got a quattroporte 4-cam in it and a transaxle, and the thing weighs nothing. And he said it was a sunny day, and he said, "Why don't we just go out for a drive?"
Right.
I said, why? And he said, the sun's out and I've got a great car and you've got a convertible and we should just go out and rip through the hills.
I love that. When is the last time you did that, just on a whim like that?
I would say it's been over a year.
Right.
What happens? We get busy and then the weather's not so good and there's this excuse and that excuse. And
exactly.
When I pulled out of the garage and I pulled the top down on my 91 Alfa S4, I had this feeling I was 16 again.
Right.
If you remember the first time you popped back the top on a car, it's suddenly you're one with the countryside.
Absolutely.
You're like in a side of a television set watching the stuff go by on the glass. Mm-hmm. But when you pop the top down, you smell things, you see things. You're really integrated into the landscape you're traveling through.
Sure. Well, and when you're playing chase with the guy in front of you, that's always a lot of fun too, because that gets you at one with the car and the road and with him as well.
Well, when we come out of our condo, you turn left and there's about a mile straightaway up the hill into the Vista Tunnel, which is a long tunnel. And he's got 4 big exhaust pipes with no mufflers. So it's, when you hit the tunnel, the first thing you do when you're 16 is rev your car and honk your horn.
Of course. Yeah, that's what you're supposed to do in the tunnel. You're supposed to honk your horn is absolutely what you're supposed to do. And if you've got something that sounds cool and you're not in mom's Camry, then you rev the motor. Absolutely. Right. So, and
it was as much as you can. And it was good. We weren't going fast, but the roads were twisty 2 lanes through the Oregon wine country. And I just thought how lucky we are. Those of us who have experienced convertibles in our lifetime appreciate them. And there's a large group of people in the world who have never had a convertible, who will never have a convertible, right, and will never get that sense of really what it's like when you put those 2 front clamps, knock them loose, pop the top back, and then we've got a nice Bluetooth stereo in it. And so you turn that up and maybe some Led Zeppelin.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, perfect. It's something good road music that gets you going. And, before you know it, that right foot's getting deeper and deeper into that footwell.
That's right.
Well, and of course, now your Alfa is a manual transmission. So
automatic.
It is an automatic. Okay.
Since I had my stroke, I've had a lot of trouble driving.
Sure.
So I've got the Alfa S4. I have a Jaguar V12 automatic. I've got a Porsche Sportomatic. And what I've had to learn, Stewart, is that there's really not much difference between a good automatic and a good stick when you're just cruising through the mountain. You're not going to be shifting much anyway.
Right, exactly. It's funny how how your perception of things is different than the reality of it is, because it's I don't know, mythical to drive a manual transmission, and it's cool that you know how to do it when a lot of people don't know how to do it. But performance-wise and practicality-wise, it's not very practical. You got too much going on anyway these days with cell phones and your coffee and everything else you got.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm taking my family on a little tiny 4-day mini SCM excursion to Bend, and we're going to take the Alfa S4, the Lotus Elise, Chris's Maserati, and my 65 Alfa Giulia Spider Veloce.
I love it.
Have a nice 4-car caravan.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. So, you were talking about, you said you were going up through Oregon wine country. I have to go down a little bit of a rabbit hole here. Why is Oregon Pinot Noir the best Pinot Noir in the history of ever?
It comes from the Montana floods.
Right.
It was 20 or 30 or 40,000 years ago, there was a big dam up in Montana, an ice dam, and it broke. And when it broke, it brought all the sediment between Montana and Portland all downstream within a wall of water that was 50 feet high and moving at 60 miles an hour.
Wow. Wow.
So yeah, you can imagine if you're an Indian sitting on the bank saying, "What's that sound?"
Oh, what? That sounds rumbly.
Yeah. Wow.
Wow.
It deposited all of that really fine sediment that has become great for the grapes to grow in, and then we also have a good climate for it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, on top of that, lots of wet weather and all that good stuff for it. I never understood why, but I just always understood that I knew how good it was. And thank you for that insight into that. So, is this going to encourage you getting out with the Alfa? Is it going to encourage you to take some little side Sunday afternoon, half-hour trips just to get out and blow the carburetors out?
The injection out.
Yeah, true.
It will. I'm getting better, Stuart. When I first had my stroke, I was paralyzed on my left side completely, and I've got that coming back pretty good. And so it's so much fun to drive the Alfa.
Right.
The S4 is a calm, sophisticated car. It's not like my 65, which is almost a weapons grade machine.
Right.
The 91 is comfortable, has power steering, power brakes. It's got AC. That when I bought the car, of course, the guy said it just needed a recharge. Only $2,500 later, the AC was blowing cold, and I like the car, and it's summertime, and I can get to my car by myself and take off on a drive, and it's even though it's not a wild and crazy Alfa,
right?
It's still an Alfa Romeo after all these years.
Yeah, and those cars are so cool. There's just a feel and thing about an Alfa Romeo that just is second to no other car for some reason, and it's everything that they do. They just seem to do very well for each era that they built the car.
I would agree with that. I've had Alfa since I was 16 years old.
Right. Well, that's what started Sports Car Market Magazine, was the Alfa Romeo newsletter, right?
Market letter. That's right.
Yeah, market letter. Yeah. Isn't that funny?
For whatever reason, it's the car that I have a real affinity for.
Sure. And you're like all of us. There's not many cars you find that you don't like, I would imagine. It was like we were talking to Wayne Carini about, he's in the new car pool where he gets a new car, and he says all new cars are great. Some are just greater than others, right?
I also think the problem with new cars is that they don't ask you to do anything to be really great cars.
Sure.
Like my son's going to borrow that new 911 to go on that 15-mile tour, but he's not going to have to. Last year he took our 75, and he had to work hard to get to 90.
Sure, yeah. And harder to stay there, right?
Yeah, and with everybody else passing him, and so we're a little concerned because these new cars, just like the SL55s, you're going 140 without even thinking about it. Right.
And no idea how. You really don't have a sensation of speed when you're in a cocoon like that. You just don't. It doesn't translate.
Right. Now, with my 65 Alfa, when you get above 75 or 80, things are starting to vibrate, and the car's kind of talking back into you, and it's saying little things like, "Are you sure you want to do this? Are you really sure?"
Yeah. You're really pushing the envelope there, Keith.
You got those 165 15 tires on it, and it's making you work. And to me, a car that makes you work is really a fun car to have.
Have you seen the picture of the first generation of the 911 next to the last generation of the 911? The width of the tires is like, wow. Yes. That could fit like 5 tires.
Our 75 is an impact bumper, narrow body car, and it's not as sophisticated as the new cars. Doesn't have power steering, doesn't have power brakes, doesn't have any nanny aids.
Right.
But it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's
that 2.7 motor makes a great sound.
Sure.
And the car is taking you back in time.
Yeah, it really is. It's amazing, isn't it? How those can evoke memories from years gone by. Just a smell, a sound, a feel, a touch, whatever. It's amazing.
Yep.
So
go ahead.
No. I was just going to say I love having this conversation with you because it's always some different subject that we're talking about, and it's always something that I think that people are interested in hearing because not everybody gets to do what you and I do. We get to experience a lot of cars because of the business we're in, that we get to experience other people's cars too. And that's such a joy because, you can only own so many cars in a lifetime, no matter how much money you have.
Right. I think the key is to make yourself get on a nice day, I remember my daughter, she came in to work one day and she said, Dad, let's take the Duetto and go to Mount Hood.
Right.
I said, Alex, I have so much to do today. She said, Dad, you're going to have so much to do when you get back too, all right?
Yeah, that logic.
Just get in the car and let's go to Mount Hood.
And with that, we will say that is probably the best advice that we've probably heard all week. So, Keith Martin, again, thank you for being on every week. We really enjoy our conversation, and we've got a little special offer that we'll play here in just a minute, and we will catch you next week, and I'm sure we'll have equally as fun things to talk about.
And if the sun is shining, I want you out in your car.
It's shining right now. I got to go.
Here's a special offer from Sports Car Market Magazine. Get a 6-month subscription for just $19.95 by going to sportscarmarket.com/test drive and the number 6. That's sportscarmarket.com/test drive 6. If you're a buyer, a seller, or just general classic car enthusiast, publisher Keith Martin says,
we've been around almost 40 years. This is the Wall Street Journal of the collector car world.
Activate your 6-month trial of Sports Car Market Magazine by going to sportscarmarket.com/test drive 6. Offers for a limited time. Be in the know with Sports Car Market.
The Classic Auto Mall Show with their host, Stewart Howden. Available on classicautomall.com, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts.